Got a few of those made. Alright, now that we've got all these, next we've got to put the metal mesh intake in. So with these, we're going to have to insert them in like so. And then we're going to have to drill them. Yes, right through the mesh and everything. Try not to hit this, because if you hit that or too close to the end of this, it'll wrap all the mesh up. Can be bad. So you actually want to go in a little bit and then hit it pretty close to here with the drill bit, like so. And when drilling the hole, make sure you go slow and steady. Let the drill do the work. Don't be pushing hard on it. Just let the drill eat through and it'll just catch and drag itself naturally. And always make sure not to have your finger behind this, because you don't want that. That'd be horrible. Now get you some fishing line. I got some 50-pound here, clear, color of choice, up to you. And get that threaded through. And yeah, what you hear is actually a dehumidifier. But anyways, get that threaded through. And I like to look down into the hole. See how you can look down into it? And as you're threading that through, it's easier to visualize where the hole's going through. And plus you can see that it's actually a clear access. Get it tied up, clean off the ends here, snip snip. I put it behind so you can't see in the front. Hides it behind it. Finished piece. Boom. Now time to kick on the music, rock my way through all these. It's gonna be a long night. What the? What was that? It's late, but I managed to get all the screens on all of them. Yeah, boy. Now I can put them on the rack. And now that I have the full completed valve, I can start putting them up on here. Go to about that. Well, I gotta connect them. And as far as figuring out that piece to connect them, I used the same theory. I used the same principle as I did with these, which you go with the size length of the tank minus what doesn't get connected, minus this span, which this is actually 1.25 inches, so this is 12.5, so it's 11.25 between. And since this one actually got cut short because I went 2 inches on this, which I shouldn't have, and it's kind of staggered. But what I'll do is I'll pull it all the way, I'll pull this all the way over to here, then I'll have it offset. And then when it hits to about here, I'll go ahead and make an expansion to about here. And we'll jump another expansion. All right, well, I don't have extra arms or time to set up a tripod, but I put this all the way over here. It lined up how it was supposed to be. So now that I made sure that this would work, now it's time to make one of these for all these. Make sure I make my elbow ones correctly. Getting there. Got my 48 joining pieces cut here. 11.25 inches. All set up again. Time to run the gauntlet. Got them all done. connected. And while I wait for the sun to come up, I'll start working on the next racks. New day, new big step to this project. Time to start getting the sand. Free substrate. Now, if you don't have land of your own, you could always ask a friend, get creative, maybe go to a new construction site, ask a contractor, builder, landscaper. Sometimes those people are just getting rid of dirt. But yeah, time to shovel it up. And my hole will collectively become a pond at some point. Should just scrape off what's off the top, get what's up underneath it from the top of that. Because the farther you dig, the wetter it can be, depending on what's going on. But it hasn't rained for a few days, so this isn't too crazy wet. Put it in, stir it around a little bit. When the sand dries, mock this up where it's gonna lay, then get my expansion to go over to that tank. That way my valves aren't on top of each other. 12 of those cut. Time to glue them on the ends here and the other valve to it. And should be able to hang these up. And then I'll connect them all together. All right, first one is strapped in, which I just use these 8-inch zip ties to zip it to the other line. Then over there, I'll add a hook and then I'll zip it. That way, this doesn't hang and it'll sit more like that after I get it hooked in. But to keep the flow going, now that I have these in the tank, I can put sand in there. Which I have been going around stirring it up, help get the moisture off the bottom and evaporate it out of the sand. No time to sift it through, throw my chunks in there, keep the good fine sand. And those all now have all 5 on them. All right, got sand in a few of them. It's gonna take me a few days to get sand in all of these because one bucket is 2 of those. So it's gonna take me about 40 rounds of those pools, 2 sets to get it all done. And you gotta have dry time with the sun. And saying that, it's easier to put the sand in when these aren't up. So I have to slow roll this, but it's time to get into shipping. Thank you all so much for the support and orders. Appreciate you. New day, more sand, but this is gonna take me maybe 10 days of doing this. If I could do 4 or 5 because I got the dry time, but it's gonna save me up to $1,600. If I were to spend $20 on each tank, that'd be $1,600 . So it is saving me a lot of money that I don't have. Which without these, none of this would be possible. So thank you all so much for your orders and support. LWAquatics.com if you're looking for some good homebred stuff for your aquarium. Also extended the 10% off and buy 10 get 1 free of anything on the website. No code needed. So a bucket of sand weighs 50 pounds. So if I can get 2 out of 1 bucket, that's 25 pounds per tank. So if you do the math, you're looking at $20–$40 per substrate. So it could even be more than $1,600. Now I was gonna do a bucket per tank, but with all the tanks I gotta do, like I said, it would take me 10 days plus that, and I'm not planning on growing any stem plants in here. It'll be mostly moss and stuff. So I don't need a whole lot of I don't need much depth for the substrate. Saying that, I mean, I'm saving up to $3,600 up to $7,200. And that's on cheaper substrate. That's not even the expensive stuff. Here's my Synodontis lucipennis tank for the moment. This was actually meant to be a temporary tank, but these guys look absolutely cool between all the crip and the guppy grass going on. One of my favorite things to do with these guys, which I think they already know what's about to happen, is to feed them. Feeding frenzy. They're always the most frenzy type of fish when it comes to eating. I'm going crazy. Yum, 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 yum. Racing to that food. And the race is on. Let him go. Really cool tank. Another day of getting it done. I got smart, got an umbrella for the sun. Did it. Sand is in all 79 tanks. I'm cooked. It's been hot. But I pushed and stayed focused. Got her done. Exciting. Now I just gotta level it all out. Then I can get back to getting these off the floor and get these put up on the rack. And I did keep the tailings, the bits and pieces, from all the sand. So this is all more root material. As you can see, it's just nice and fluffy, good stuff. And then that's more dirt, but granulated. See, there's a little bit of this and that in there. But this is really good for aquascaping, getting natural looks, and this will be more for display tanks in the future. Also get my door stop on here. Sweet, now I don't have to worry about the door taking out my tank. Take that, and that, and that, and that. I'd say it's pretty sturdy. I ain't even with water in it yet. As far as smoothing out the sand, I just kind of bank the back of it and then have it a little lower in the front. That way it's gonna be easy to catch fish. If you know how to read numerology, then you might be able to figure out what this is. It actually shows how many tanks I have and where. Outflows, most of them on, just gotta connect in the middle now. Woohoo, getting so close. I've never in my life seen a mosquito that big. What the? Thing is huge. Look at the size of this mosquito. This thing is huge. What the heck? Look, the thing's the size of my thumbnail. My busted up thumbnail. Let's cut the striped legs. Little stomach that pumps the blood. That's crazy. This thing's like 4 times the size of a regular mosquito. This must be one of Gilly Bates's. Also got another new addition to the barn. Here, might as well have some fun with it. What do you guys think? You can see Wesley's trampoline.